You know that there's an old metaphor that if you want to get rid of a king, you have to make sure to get rid of the sons as well, because if you don't, the sons are going to come back and, well, they will come back with a vengeance, and it's not going to be good for you in any way. They're going to be a nuisance. And in this case, it's Hunter Biden coming in a couple interviews out of nowhere, like 4 hours of interview that we are definitely not going to watch, but we're going to analyze in a couple ways, trying to defend whatever is left of his father's reputation and blasting the Democratic Party in so many ways that I cannot count. He criticized Obama. He criticized Nancy Pelosi. Let's say that he said that crack is less, let's say, dangerous than alcohol. Yeah, he said that. I'm going to play that clip. I'm going to play that clip right now. I'm going to play that clip right now. Why not? Let's do this.
Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite.
So yeah, you see a couple of things in this first clip, that his body language is very measured. He's measuring his words. He is acting in a way that we could say measured. That it looks like the guy is, according to himself, he's been 6 years clean, no crack, no alcohol, no nothing. So we have to get his word for that. Believe him because of that. And he is giving this interview. The intention is to clear up the air somehow. And this, this has not helped very much, because he also said that, the only thing that he's truly guilty of is of not paying his taxes. There are a couple of things that he said. He has a couple of things to say about George Clooney, for example. I'm going to pick the George Clooney clip just because this is a perfect example of how was his language through this interview. It was one of the most, let's say, uncomfortable things about this interview. I'm going to say why in a minute.
Him and everybody around him. I don't have to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not a actor.
So yeah, he was really mad, or he is really mad at George Clooney. And yeah, this is pretty much the language throughout all the interview. I am not against having an F-bomb here and there, for emphasis. I have done that myself here in the Battle Language Guy channel. But having that, speaking like that all the time, it just removes every single, intention or emphasis. The word becomes something interrupting instead of emphasis. And his body language, I'm going to play this. I'm going to try to play this without audio. I'm going to mute this for a second. I'm going to play this without audio. So you see that his body language, he's trying to emphasize something, leaning forward. He's really mad at George Clooney. There are other people that he is mad. I'm going to see this. I'm going to see this in the following clip, because this was a mess. Again, so I was not going to watch 3 hours of Hunter Biden. I made a video about Hunter Biden. It's in my pin video on my YouTube account, by the way. Just go check that out. I like that video very much, and we had so much fun with that video. But this...
What do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times to undermine the president?
So there you have it. That is where he was speaking. And in this case, about George Clooney. And he also had some things to say about Obama. Notice how he emphasized, how he opens his eyes, how he doesn't stumble, how he articulates the words correctly. I mean, if you asked me, I would say that the guy was present and focused on whatever he was saying. I'm pretty sure there are going to be all sorts of jokes and comments about this, that maybe the guy was high on something else that helped him have this clarity. Maybe, perhaps. I'm going to take his word that he's been clean, wink, wink, and we're going to continue.
And James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of David Axelrod and David Plouffe and all of these guys in the Pod Save America.
You know that there's a huge pros in the fact that Hunter Biden is clean, supposedly allegedly clean right now, because you could make all those jokes. Oh, he must be on something that helps him speak that way. But think about this: if he's clean and he's attacking the Democrats, that is actually good for the nation, right? Because the Democrats got all this coming to them, all the things that they have, the rumors about Obama, Gavin Newsom being all over the place, Jasmine Crockett and AOC not helping the cause at all. This is looking very bad for the midterms. As long as Trump keeps what he just promised in regards of the Jeffrey Epstein list, because I think he promised something that everything is going to be released in the end. But now Democrats who defended Hunter Biden as somebody who, he just redeemed himself. He used to be a junkie, but he is a symbol of what you can make with your life. You come back from the hell. You come back from it all. He was only guilty of not paying his taxes. Now you have this. How do you think Democrats are reacting to this? How do you think Democrats are reacting to the attack on, their main figures, or what happened in 2024? And he said that Democrats lost because they were not loyal to Joe Biden. That's the problem. I think that's what another of the problems. I have another clip here, as important from another interview, and that is the odd thing. It was two very long interviews, almost back to back, that we got online, 24 hours. This got to have an intention. You know that we have to analyze intentions, and just the timing has to be just perfect. In this case, Hunter Biden is still trying to cover up Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline. We watched him get old in front of our eyes, and that does not mean that you're incapacitated. And how could you measure whether someone is incapacitated or not? Hunter, there are ways to measure that, in fact.
Because what we did is we watched Joe Biden turn 80, then 81, and then 82. We watched him get old in front of our eyes. Mm-hmm. And that does not mean that you're incapacitated.
Well, he's saying something true, that you're old. It doesn't mean that you're incapacitated. You can be old and be active and have wisdom and have a vision and still have energy. That doesn't mean that you're getting old. Maybe you're adding years, but you're staying active. We know that in terms of Joe Biden, it had absolutely no way of denying that. When we got into the ambient thing, I think this he said at some point that Joe Biden was. Let me play this clip.
What the Democratic Party proved is they have no guts. I mean, by the way, I say party. The elite white people that donate to the colleges, the people that donate to the multi-million-dollar checks to the DNC and the DCCC and the DSCC, the Schumer people and the Pelosi people and those people, the controlling interest of the corporate side of the Democratic Party.
So basically, he's attacking the upper echelons of the Democratic Party. That's not going to be good. It's not going to be good anyway, and especially how they didn't like Kamala, especially Speaker Pelosi.
You know who did not want Kamala Harris to be president and did not want her to be the nominee? Nancy Pelosi didn't want her to be. None of Nancy Pelosi's people wanted her.
Well, I couldn't think of one person that thought it was a good idea of having Kamala Harris as the nominee. I've always thought about the moment that Joe Biden decided to step down with that fabricated signature that was not him, on that fabricated letter that he was not aware of. There was an ambush by Nancy Pelosi, and like 4 or 5 hours later or 6 hours later, I really don't remember, it was hours later, we got that endorsement of Kamala Harris. I think there was, an impulse by Joe Biden doing the right thing. He was going to go out and just put Kamala Harris in the limelight when these people wanted, a proper, let's say, a proper hands up or voting, a proper primary about that. No, I'm going to F them all. I think that Joe Biden did the right move. Joe Biden did us, everyone in the United States, a big favor when he endorsed Kamala Harris in those first hours after the coup.
They wanted an open convention. They wanted a floor fight. They wanted I don't know what the hell they wanted, but they wanted to be the ones to anoint whoever they were going to anoint to become the next president of the United States.
And at the same time, this is devastating for the Democrats, because many Democrats actually wanted a primary. They wanted it the right way. They just didn't want the anointing of Kamala Harris, and that's it. And at the same time, they are pressured by their own guilt and the monster that they helped build. That is, Kamala Harris is black. She's a woman. She's gonna be the first black woman, all the combination president. That is just great. Let's go with her. Let's go with her. No, that's should not be how it works.
I'll tell you.
Okay, this is when Hunter speaks about the debate. What happened in the debate?
Tell you what, I know exactly what happened in that debate. He flew around the world, basically, the mileage that he could have flown around the world 3 times.
Yeah.
He's 81 years old. He's tired as They give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage, and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights. And it feeds into every story that anybody wants to tell.
So you're telling me, wait a second. So you're telling me that he is 81 years old. Okay, well, he was 81 years old at the moment. And he essentially couldn't debate because he was flying all over the world. He was 81 years old. He was taking Ambien to be able to sleep. So that's the thing that gave him trouble in the debate. That's why he couldn't perform in the debate. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, Hunter. How did you expect that he was going to be president for 4 more years if that was the case? You're making the actual case for Joe Biden running again, and Joe Biden claiming that he could beat anybody, not only Donald Trump, anybody, on running again. You're making the point, let's say the case for that not be true. That couldn't have been. That was impossible. It's like you're trying to defend your father, and you're making the Democrat Party look even worse somehow. You're making your father look worse. You're making your mother look worse. You're making everyone. I think even less Kamala. Kamala is not looking bad. She was simply not up to the task. She was simply not up to the task. Oh, and now he's trying to defend Joe again, saying that Jake Tapper is nobody.
If this was a conspiracy, Andrew, you know this, somehow the entirety of a White House in which you literally living on top of each other has kept their mouth shut about, like what? And what's conspiracy?
Yeah.
That Joe Biden got old? Yeah, he got old. He got old before our eyes. The people that came out against him were who? Nobody. Except Speaker
Ooh.
Pelosi. What influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to after he put the book out. They did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab.
Well, there are other clips that we should be addressing, but I think this is a very important one. Do you think the Democratic Party is dead?
The Democratic Party's dead?
No, I don't think the Democratic Party.
In terms of body language, was one of the few times that he leaned back and looked away and covered his neck with his hand. He was not sure about, no, I don't think the Democratic Party is dead. I think it's pretty much dead. I think it's pretty much dead. At least, let's say, it's not in good shape these times. And especially, I wouldn't say especially after these interviews, because they are going to dismiss, the Democrats are going to dismiss this as, oh, he's just salty because Joe was treated such and such. By whom? By Republicans? By Trump? No, by the Democratic Party itself. So you understand the irony of this, right? You simply cannot defend what happened with these people, with any of them. All these people are trash. That is reality, and they're facing that reality faster than we can say crack cocaine.
I think that there's some really incredible leaders in the Democratic Party.
I hope that those incredible leaders in the Democratic Party don't include Jasmine Crockett and AOC.
Will emerge. There will be a leader that will emerge.
Someone will emerge. Maybe it's Jasmine Crockett after all. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Remember to download my free 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.